Hello, hello, Key Stage 1. Let's get ready to have some fun. It is Monday, the 13th of July, and this is an extra video that I thought I would quickly record for you as an extra challenge, featuring a toolkit, because I don't want you to forget what toolkits are by the time you start school in September. So year twos almost year threes and year ones almost year twos. Let's go over a good old-fashioned poetry toolkit. Now, if you remember, a toolkit includes lots of things that might be in a piece of writing. Now, in this case, we have been reading a very funny nonsense poem by Edward Lear called The Quangle Wangle's Hat. So our toolkit is going to remind us about the things that could be included in this poem. Now remember, it's not that it should be included in every single piece of poetry. It's things that could be included. So as I always say, a toolkit is tools, not rules. Okie dokes, so here we go. I've just written out, it could have some rhymes, it could have alliteration, and it could have repetition. Now, of course, your challenge today, your actual challenge in your work, is to find similes. So it's something else that I will add on. It's just that I know that this part doesn't have any similes, so we won't go over that now because it's already in your learning. It's already in your, I've already written a model for you, so you should all have that already. So let's have a go at trying to find and underline some rhymes in the first verse, the first chunk, the first part of the Quangle Wangle's Hat. So we're looking at rhymes, things that sound the same at the end. On top of the crumpety tree, the Quangle Wangle sat, but his face you could not see on account of his beaver hat. Now, if you picked out tree and see, well done, because it has the same E phoneme, the E sound at the end. If you picked out sat and hat, because of the at sound, which is the same at the end, also well done, fantastic. So we can already see that the poem does have rhymes. Interesting. For his hat was 102 feet wide, with ribbons and bibbons on every side. So there is a sound that does sound the same. For his hat was 102 feet wide, with ribbons and bibbons on every side. Well done if you said wide inside. Extra points if you can think of the sound that it has. And if you said split diagraph I, top bananas, well done. And bells and buttons and loops and lace, so that nobody could ever see the face. I'm not quite sure what's happened here. Face of the Quangle Wangle Quee. Okie dokes. So, bells, buttons, loops and lace, so that nobody could ever see the face. You are absolutely right. Lace and face do rhyme. They have, again, you are right, they have the split diagraph A sound. The A, L, ace, and F, ace. Awesome. So we can see already, by underlining in a different colour, that the first part of the poem does indeed have rhymes, which is in our toolkit. It would be interesting to notice where these rhymes are. Are they at the beginning, are they at the middle, or are they at the end of the poem? When you figured that out, that they are at the end, as you can see, have a go at underlining the rhymes in the rest of the poem and see if it follows the pattern of rhymes at the end, because that would just be an interesting thing to notice. Right, that's rhymes done. Now on to our next next element, next bit of the toolkit, alliteration. Now, if you remember what alliteration is, I know it's been a long time since we've done this. It's when it has the same starting sound. So the same starting sound. So it has the sound at the start of all those words. So that is alliteration. Same starting sound. Blue bear has the B sound at the start. The crumpled carrot. Carrot can be crumpled into, somebody's crumpled it up. The crunchy carrot, that's probably even better. The crunchy carrot. The cat ate the crunchy carrot, has the K sound. I think you get the idea. Let's have a look and see if the Quangle Wangle poem, if this first verse has any alliteration in it. On top of the crumpety tree, the Quangle Wangle sat, but his face you could not see on account of his beaver hat. For his hat was 102 feet wide, with ribbons and bibbins on every side. Ribbons and bibbins. Does that rhyme? Yes, it does, because the only sound that has changed is the start sound. Ribbons, bibbins. Sorry, got carried away. And bells and buttons, and loops and lace. Any alliteration there? Any words, any two words with the same starting sound? Bells and buttons, B and B. Loops and lace, the L and L. So yes, you are right. That is alliteration, because it has the same starting sound and the words are quite close together, so that nobody could ever see the face of the Quangle Wangle Queen. Yes, Qu and Qu. Quangle Wangle Queen. Now, it would be interesting for you as an extra challenge to have a go at the rest of the poem and see if you can find any more alliteration in there, because I can tell you now there definitely is more alliteration in the rest of the poem. Okay, and the last bit in our toolkit is repetition, any repeating words or phrases. On top of the crumpety tree, the Quangle Wangle sat, but his face you could not see on account of his beaver hat. For his hat was 102 feet wide, with ribbons and bibbins on every side, and bells and buttons and loops and lace, that nobody could see the face of the Quangle Wangle Queen. Now, yes, you are right. The face bit. What happened here? Not sure. The face part is mentioned twice. His face you could not see. Nobody could ever see the face. And of course, Quangle Wangle, he's repeated, and I did make a video last week of repeating the word Quangle Wangle, because it is actually quite fun to say. So have a go at the rest of the poem and see if you can spot any more repeating words or phrases. And now, as an extra challenge, I know that today you had to look for similes in a part of the poem, which I've already done a model for, which is why we didn't go through it today. So you could, in your toolkit at home, you could add similes to the bottom of it, and you could have a look at the rest of the poem for any similes that you can spot. Now, as an ultimate challenge, and this is the last one I will give you today, so don't worry. As an ultimate challenge, when you spot these things that are in your toolkit, I would like you to just have a think or talk to somebody at home about how they make you feel. When you read a rhyme in the Quangle Wangle's hat, how does it make you feel? When you read a bit of alliteration, how does it make you feel? When you read repeating words, Quangle Wangle, how does it make you feel in this poem? Because I have a feeling that when you go up to year 3, certainly, you will be reading poems that make you feel differently. This poem, as you all know, I love, because it makes me feel a certain way, which I've already talked about in other videos. And the whole point of writing is, yes, to get better at your writing, but also have a think about how Edward Lear wants you to feel when you read his poem. Is it a sad poem? Is it a happy poem? Is it a somber poem? Is it a bit of an anxious poem? Just have a think about that, and maybe talk to an older sibling or a parent about it, because it's quite interesting to think about. Right. Oh yes, I did have one other thing to say. Somebody last week on Friday asked me, and I thought I would say this in the video so that all of Key Stage 1 can hear, because it's a great question. Very good question, well done. Asked me why punctuation is a bit weird in their words in this poem. So we have a comma at the end of a poem, but then the next line starts with a capital letter. What in the blue blazes is that all about? That's not right, she said. It should be a full stop or an exclamation mark, but not a comma. You are right. Normally, when you have a comma, you shouldn't really put a capital letter in front of it, unless it's a name of a person or a place. But as we saw last week from the story map, poems are a little bit different to normal stories. So with the poems in our story map, we noticed and we saw that all the lines are under each other, not like a normal story where it just goes next to each other, all the lines. So we already know that poems are a little bit different. And they also follow the rules of punctuation a little bit differently. You don't have to worry about it at this stage, but if anybody else noticed that at home, well done for noticing it, but you don't have to worry about it. Just know that sometimes, only in poetry, you can have punctuation that doesn't really follow the rules when you write a normal story. Okay, but don't worry about it too much at this stage. Alrighty, so challenge yourselves, Key Stage 1, okie dokes. Have a fantastic, wonderful day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again tomorrow. Bye!